Hey, this is Kirk.
And this is Bird. Welcome to the show. With us, we've got again Jay Gholson, who actually sponsors our Player of the Week. So we actually like to call this the ReMax Jay Gholson Weekly Picks and MVP segment. Also, returning Jason Sterling. He's knows a lot about Loudoun County, but really the whole state of Virginia. Is also at times the voice of Stonebridge football. Oh, and before Jay corrects me, Jay Golson is also the voice of freedom
Thank you.
football and basketball. And he is the guy that runs the real Prince William Sports. Now we've got Colin Ropella. Colin, I met him last year. He does play-by-play for Prince William Sports Entertainment. He also is going to be helping out the Kirk and Bird show this year as a correspondent, reporting on Liberty University athletics. But specifically right now, I know we're going to deal with Liberty football. So welcome to the show, Colin.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah. Now, Colin knows his stuff, and he's on the scene. He's in Lynchburg, and he just sits there each week, ready with his microphone. He doesn't go to the school or anything. He's just there for the Kirk and Bird Network. All right, let's go ahead and get started, Kirk. And why don't you let folks know where they can find us?
Yes, the 3,000 to 5,000 people that are going to subscribe in Lynchburg around Liberty, just at YouTube. Follow us on at the Kirk and Bird on Twitter, and we've got a Facebook forum, the 703-540, the Nova 703-540 high school sports page. We're trying to really get that up and going and put out a lot more content. Copying Jay pumps out content all the time over on his Prince William forum. So we're trying to do that for the rest of Northern Virginia, and we have a weekly top 10. So Rusty, let's take a look at last week. There were some really good games, and people bringing up the records from last week. It was interesting. Overall, I think that we've got probably about 12 games we missed. That's collectively, but we'll go through the games. Myself and Mr. Jay Gholson were 8-2, and then it looks like Mr. Bird and Mr. Sterling were 6-4. Jason, I think, has never ever had more than 3 wrong. So
it was the first time for everything, right?
It was the first time for everything. So we're going to run through these games and get on to our week 8. And I know there's a big interest in the Patriot Gainesville. Patriot won that one 56-26. Rusty and Jay, just real quick, we got a lot to go through here, but this was a big game, guys, because there was a lot of talk going back and forth, and Patriot put an exclamation point on things. We all picked Patriot except for Jason. He picked Gainesville. Jay and Rusty, give us a little bit about that game.
Let me say this, though, for Rusty goes. Patriots Jackson McCarter, in my opinion, is the top 3 running back in Prince William County. Maybe top 2. The old line for Patriot, basically they punched Gainesville in the mouth. Bottom line. And, Patriot, they're 4-2 now, and like I said, they run the table. That's my opinion of the game.
Hold on. Are you saying that Patriot is going to beat Battlefield in that last game?
Yes.
Think about it. Okay, you don't have to be this way. All right. So I was blessed to be able to be the color analyst for this football game. So I actually did a lot of research, and I did post-game interviews. The thing that I came away with 2 things. Patriot is really good. Okay. They've only had 2 losses, but they were the Westfield Colonial Forge. But Gainesville is well coached, and they're a good team too. And the reason I'm going to say that first drive, Patriot drove right there, scored. And what I liked is I felt like they they kept responding when you thought now it's over. And so Gainesville showed me a lot. And I'll tell you why, because Patriot has, like Jay said, Jackson McCarter is without a doubt one of the top 2 or 3 running backs, not just in Prince William County. I think not just in Virginia, but probably the DMV and Virginia. Because we know Jeffrey Overton is probably the one we're comparing him to would be the other one, and he was clearly one of the best in the state of Virginia as a 10th grader last year. But Landon Hunt, Jackson McCarter, and Overton, we're blessed to have them for the next 2 years. Going into that game, this is the last thing I'll say. Going into that game, Landon Hunt was only 8 yards away from 1,000. Okay, he came into the game with 992. Jackson came in with 745. Okay, he finished that game with 25 carries, 348 yards.
Wow. And
I know he had at least 1 or 2 70-yard runs called back. Okay. He could have had close to, if he didn't have like 1 or 2 of his calls back, he would have easily have gone over 4, close to 500 yards in that game. But what I like is Gainesville never backed down. They're a second-year varsity program and did not have Coven Smith, probably their best player, who in the first game of the year scored 5 touchdowns. So Gainesville, second-year program, without their best player, I thought has nothing to be ashamed of. But Patriots showed us that they are legit. One last thing I want to say about that game is I officially did not pick for the broadcast. I said something, but I did not put it out. And Mr.
You recused yourself.
I recused myself. After the game, C4's very own Charlie Chandler came up to me and was like, "You picked against us. We use that as motivation." And I was like, I really didn't remember. I don't remember picking against you. And he kept saying it. And Coach Finnerty and all of them were all on me after the game. You know what? I looked back. I actually did pick you all to win. But I didn't announce it. So you must have had me mixed up with Jake.
Rusty
Gholson.
Picked Patriot to win 35-30.
Yeah, I did pick Patriot, but I did not air it. I actually edited that out. But that was a great game, and to me, I didn't get to see the Colonial Forge Mountain View, but I had this being, the game of the week, and I thought it was.
All right, Hermitage, Freeman, 2 really good teams down in Richmond. Hermitage won that contest 27-13. Rusty and Jay picked Freeman. I would just say that Hermitage, the athletes that they have, they showed up against Oscar Smith. That gave us a good preview. So that's a big win for Hermitage. And look out for them. They've got some we're going to be picking them this week also. Another Richmond game that's a lot closer than I expected, guys, was Verina 21, Glen Allen, which to me says Glen Allen is legit. And, Verina's in that region with Dinwiddie and King George. Looks like everyone got that one right. The other game, big game, the 757, and Oscar Smith took on Indian River. I picked Indian River. Jason picked Indian River. Oscar Smith won 27-21. Rusty, you had it at 30-21, so you were awfully close. And I think that freshman quarterback, he's settling in. And I look out for Oscar Smith. They've got some athletes. They are young, and they've got some games, and they're in that region that has Highland Springs and Manchester also for the playoffs. Another good game up here in Northern Virginia was McLean 7, Yorktown 3, and McLean is undefeated. So look for them on our top 10 poll this week on the Facebook group, the 703-540 Nova Sports group, which we encourage you to join that on Facebook. But guys, all of us got that wrong except for Mr. Jay Gholson. Jay, you picked McLean because the housing prices are a little bit higher in McLean, in that Yorktown area. Not that is pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Again, that McLean team is impressive, and we're going to be picking their game this week. So all you folks at McLean, the Highlanders, make sure you subscribe to us. And then a game that Jason, we were talking, we were trying to get some information on this. That's the Madison Westfield game, and Madison came back. They were down to Westfield at Westfield, and true to Madison, the way they roll, they won that game 28-24, and Rusty picked Westfield. The rest of us picked Madison, and look out for Madison. I mean, that's a big win for them, and with the rest of their schedule.
I was doing okay most of the night. I kept looking down, and it was like, okay, Westfield could do this.
I tell you, man, you do not want to play Madison in a tight game. They just find a way to win ball games. It just tells me their coaching is at a very superior level.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then another game was Mountain View over Colonial Forge, 31-13. Jay, I think you're enamored with Colonial Forge's size, but Mountain View did prevail in that contest, and Mountain View's got a big game coming up, guys. So Jay was the only one to pick that. The next game, quite honestly, was a pretty easy pick, and that's Briarwoods. Coach Mike Burnett has been on here. All you folks over at Briarwoods, make sure you subscribe.
It might have been easy to pick, but Riverside is having a really good season, right?
Well, they were undefeated, and then they played Loudoun County, and Loudoun County beat them, I believe, by 1 touchdown.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Briarwoods is,
but Briarwoods is
very
really
well.
Good. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. They lost to Fort Hill, which is a Cumberland team, a very good program. And that Briarwoods Stonebridge matchup, man, that's going to be a sellout here in Ashburn. That's going to be exciting. So I'm looking forward to that. But Briarwoods took care of business, 42-13. But Riverside is a program that's struggled and was winless. So the fact that they started 4-0 is very impressive.
I'm sorry, Briarwood, when they'll play Stonebridge, Briarwood, are they 4?
No, they're 5.
They're 5, so they could
They're
make
5
playoffs.
When they won all those state titles, they were 4.
That's what it was. Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, they could be the number 1 seed in the region.
They could.
Yeah,
Brady Carmichael, Colin Capistrant. I love their tailback, Trey Dudley. Man, he's a junior, guys, and he's 6'1". That's a big back in high school, so he's exciting to watch. We're going to pick Stonebridge for this coming week, and Jason and I were at the Stonebridge game, so that's going to have a lot of buildup. We're looking forward to that. The Manchester Huguenot game, we all picked Manchester. Manchester rolled over Huguenot. Huguenot's a very good team. They were undefeated. So Manchester, 42-13, and I want to note the only loss for Manchester is a very close loss to Highland Springs. Manchester is a team with Thomas Dale, Highland Springs, your Oscar Smith, your team's down in the 757. Manchester's a team we haven't talked a lot. We had Coach Tom Hall on, and keep a lookout for Manchester. There's some great games coming up, guys, in Richmond, and we've got the game, the LC Bird game coming up for this week. The other one was a Williamsburg battle. War Hill had never beaten Lafayette, and they got their first win. War Hill won 27-21, and it looks like Rusty picked Lafayette, and Jason picked Lafayette. They were close, close matchup, and we've got Lafayette this week. So everybody down in Williamsburg, but congratulations to War Hill. That school's been open a bit, by the way. It's been open for a while.
Since 07. Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think it took Coach D at Phoebus like 10 or 11, maybe even 12 years to beat Mike Smith at Hampton. That was like 90 in the 90s. But yeah, that was a big time. So congratulations to War Hill. So yeah, like I said, Jay and I were 8-2, and Rusty and Jason were 6-4. So the annual
Welcome to the basement, Jason.
And you pulled it was too lonely there for you, so I thought I'd come join you.
No, there's a long distance. Rusty, you're like a bomb shelter basement. You're like 3 flights down. So we got Jay Gholson, the ReMax real estate guru at 16 and 13. 16 13. Yours truly, Kirk Hilliard, is 58 and 15. Jason Sterling is 56, 17. Rusty is 45, 28. We got a big election year coming up, and Rusty always picks like he's running for office. So, he's got his fraternity brothers and his 6 cousins, and if he has any connection, he has to pick, right? So
that's right.
So week 8, and we're going to start with a big Prince William County game. Jim, I'll let you go first. About Battlefield is at Gainesville.
Well, like I said earlier, Battlefield has not played a team with a winning record this year so far, but they got talent. I mean, you have the Bukowski brothers, you have Boggs, you have Woodson, you have the running back Sage, and the quarterback Kalen Moshe. So they have the talent and the speed to go up with anybody. Now, Gainesville, I know Rusty is always, you need one loss to make it. You need one loss to learn from. When you lose like they did, I mean, now Gainesville has a good line, a good O-line. So it's going to be a difference between the O-line from Gainesville. The one guy smooth like 6'4", 270, left tackle. Going against
one of my former players. I coached him in middle school.
Versus Cam Bukowski, Battlefield's defensive tackle. They call Cam the silent killer. So saying that, big brother versus little brother. I'm going to say, also, one more thing before I get my pick, is Gainesville's homecoming. And as a player myself, when it's a homecoming game for the opposing team, that's extra motivation. So I'm going to say Battlefield 31, Gainesville 14.
Okay, and I want to go on record with this. Jay, you think that if Battlefield gets a higher seed than Freedom, if Freedom has something to worry about going to Haymarket?
Well, they can, because Battlefield's schedule, they basically have no winning teams on their record. Freedom has Verina,
okay,
and Forest Park, and probably St. Michael's, the last game of the year, the private school.
Right.
But the math won't count. So Battlefield has a very weak schedule. Only 2 teams with a winning record won't get you a number 1 seed.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I got it. Rusty, we'll let you go next because we know Colin's a Prince William guy too. So Rusty,
Colin?
you know Gainesville. We'll get Colin in here next. Go ahead, Rusty.
Yeah. So again, I think this Gainesville team has a lot of heart. Now, the thing that Battlefield has is experience. They have players that have been doing this. I was talking to Brian Smoot. His son David plays with my son at Alvernia. They're both freshmen there, and unfortunately, their Alvernia hasn't done all that well this year. But we talked about the fact that David, in his varsity career, only lost 2 games at Battlefield.
Yeah.
And he did that within his first 2 weeks of college. I think they will get a challenge from Gainesville. And I think for those that watch the Patriot Gainesville game, the score is not really indicative of how close that game was. Gainesville had some turnovers and made some mistakes, but they never gave up. I think Battlefield will win this game, but again, Gainesville is without their best player, Coben Smith. But I have a feeling that Battlefield will win, but it will be 35-27.
No.
All right. Woo. Colin, let's get a voice of reason.
Well, yeah, so really where I stand in this, just growing up, I went to Unity Reed, but I lived right by Patriot. So I witnessed the Patriot and Battlefield rivalry. And once Gainesville came up, my thought process was Gainesville's going to take some of those kids, and this is going to be a 3-team rivalry at some point. And Gainesville's been impressive, but I think last week showed that they're a year before really competing with those schools. So I got Battlefield. I don't have a score prediction, but I got Battlefield at least by 3 scores. I just don't think, especially without COVID, I'm not sure Gainesville has enough to win this game.
It's homecoming. Okay, we got it. Jason Sterling, let's get your take on the game.
Yeah, real quick here. Gainesville was humbled in this game against Patriot last week. It's a 30-point loss. I had them winning, so I missed that one pretty bad. They've got to get back to the drawing board this week at practice, and it doesn't get any easier at Battlefield showing up on Friday. To Jay's point, my biggest concern for Battlefield has been their strength of schedule so far. So I think Gainesville could test them early, maybe get a couple scores on the board. We'll have to see how Battlefield responds. But I do think Battlefield will win this. They've outscored their opponents, I want to say it's like 242 to 34. Again, not the heaviest schedule yet, but Battlefield pulls away in this one. I've got them by a score of 42 to 20.
42 to 20. All right. I am a man of many words. I like Battlefield, but upset alert. Gainesville is playing on their homecoming. I'm going to take Battlefield 31 to 17. All right. So, having said that, Mr. Sterling, we've got Langley at Yorktown. Langley only has 1 loss. Yorktown, I believe, is 4-3. This is a key game in that region. Give us a quick preview of that game, Jason.
Yeah, you got 2 Northern Virginia schools here really jockeying for playoff position at this point, I think. And I'll tell you, both of these teams, Kirk, they've got some talent in the skill spots. I think Langley's got 5 wins now. Their losses, I think they're 5-2, actually. Their losses are to Edison and Light Ridge. But both of those were close games. If you look at the scores, particularly Light Ridge, I want to say that was a 2-point game. I saw Yorktown in a scrimmage earlier this year and was really impressed with their quarterback. I like some of the weapons they got on the outside. I could see this game going either way, but let me take the home team here. I think some of these Northern Virginia schools with the crowds that they get, the home field is actually, I don't think we give enough credit to that. So I'll take Yorktown here, pulling this one out in a close game, 27 to 21.
Okay. A little bit of an upset.
A little bit.
All right, Colin, we'll let you go next. What do you think?
I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. When it comes to outside of my domain, if you will, I'm not that informative. So I'm just going to give you a quick pick of Langley.
Nice.
All right, you like Langley? We got it. Jay
Colin, just pick if one of them is your frat brother or you have a cousin's friend, uncle who coached there 10 years ago. That's who you go with.
And Jay Gholson would much rather sell a house near Langley High School.
Absolutely.
Than, go way downhill in the housing market to Yorktown,
Yeah, $5 million versus $4.9 million. Now, I see play, and I wasn't impressed. They had pretty much not a tough schedule, unlike McLean. I'm going to go with the home team. I'm going to go with Yorktown. I'm going to say Yorktown 24, Langley 7.
Okay. Rusty.
For this one, I picked Yorktown 24-20.
Okay. All right. I'm man of few words. I think Yorktown is going to right the ship. I think they've had a couple of stinging losses. I think the Washington Liberty loss has kind of set them down. They're going to come back. I like that home field advantage. Great environment, in Northern Virginia. Now that's getting fall. It'll be a great game at Yorktown. So I'm going to take Yorktown 21-10. All right. So the next game, good game in Richmond. LC Bird at Huguenot. Everybody down there. We've had Troy Taylor on before multiple times. Coach Taylor, great coach at LC Bird. This is a very good game. I'm going to let Jason go over this. We were talking before we started recording, and LC Bird is a team that only has a loss, I believe, to Thomas Dale. Jason, tell us about this game.
Yeah, so Huguenot's only loss came last week at the hands of Manchester, who, as we know, they're a very, very good Class 6 team. Huguenots turning their program around. They had some lean years in there, guys. So to see them sitting at 4-1 is really nice. Bird's only loss, as you mentioned, Kirk, was to Thomas Dale, another Class 6 power. So I went and looked at the schedules. They have a common opponent so far this year in Powhatan. They both beat Powhatan. Huguenot beat them by 4. Bird beat them by 7. So again, fairly close, right? So it makes me think this game's going to be pretty close. I think it's a really good football game. I think Bird's got a few more athletes in some of the key positions. So I'm going to roll with Bird here. I've got him by the score of 34-21 over Huguenot.
Here, Colin Rapella and Lynchburg, give us your pick for this LC Bird at Huguenot game.
So, as you know, I'm at Liberty University, and we are the Flames. So Eagles are our mascot, and there's Bird in the name of LC Bird. So I'm going with LC Bird.
That's how you do it,
Another
Colin.
politician.
That's how you do it.
Jay Gholson, Chesterfield County, Huguenot, Huguenot's Henrico. Who are you taking in this housing battle, LC Bird or Huguenot?
How long's that bus ride?
Not long.
Not far.
Okay,
We don't have
so
traffic in Richmond either.
It might be about 30 minutes.
okay, I'm going LC Bird. I'm gonna say low scoring game. I'm gonna say 13-6.
All right. Mr. Bird.
Come on now. You just said it. Mr. Bird. I got my dogs 33-27. LC Bird. Couple of reasons. Really good team. One of my best friends in the whole world. Galen Royal graduated from Bird. And I like their colors.
All right. I like their team. LC Bird is a team that we've not talked much about. But did you pick a score, Rusty? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bird, 33-27.
33-27.
And Huguenot, isn't that where Virginia Tech receiver Brian Steele went to high school?
Yeah, Brian Steele went to Huguenot. Huguenot's got a lot of great athletes, as does LC Bird. And I was just going to point out for Coach Taylor and everybody down there in Chesterfield County, we haven't talked much about LC Bird. And if you want some motivation, I've been talking about Stonebridge is going to right the ship and going to meet Maury in the state championship. That's also a slight to green run, but we haven't been talking about LC Bird. LC Bird's a great team. We've only got one loss to Thomas Dale. I like LC Bird in this one. They're riding the ship. I like LC Bird 28-10. And the next game is down in the 757, and that's Lafayette at Tab. Classic game. These are two of the older programs in the state. It's got great players. Terry Kirby from Tab. My goodness, Lawrence Taylor, Mel Gray from Lafayette. Guys, I don't know if you know, but Tab used to play. They had a city stadium, up in York County, and then Lafayette played at Cooley Field, which was not at Lafayette. I believe Tab plays at Tab High School now, and Tab's got a really good record. So I think with the support of Tab, Lafayette is coming off that War Hill loss. That was War Hill's first. And I think Tab would rather see Lafayette coming off a win, but I'm going to take the Tab Tigers, which is literally, Rusty, that's Big Bethel Road. That's like,
you took my one key. It's Big Bethel Road. Yep.
Yeah, it's Big Bethel Road, and it's only about a mile into York County. I like the Tab Tigers. I'm going to go 28-17. And Mr. Rapella?
Yeah, so when I was younger, I went to a basketball camp at Lafayette College in Pennsylvania. So
There you go.
let's go Lafayette.
Lafayette, the Rams, Lawrence Taylor would be proud of you. Jason Sterling.
Yeah, tough loss last week for Lafayette, as you mentioned, Kirk, at the hands of War Hill. A really, really close game. Tab's in this game coming into this thing Friday with 5 wins out of 6 games on the season, 5-1 record. I just don't think their schedule has been all that daunting. So I take pause of that a little bit. Let me take Lawrence Taylor in this one over Terry Kirby and Chris Slade. So 28-21 Lafayette.
All right. Gholson.
I'm gonna say the Ghosts are coming out for Tab. Chris Slade, Terry Kirby. So I'm gonna say Tab 20, Lafayette 14.
Okay.
So this is going to seem like I copied off Jay's paper because I picked tab 2114. And part of the reason is because they do have that program is resurging. It was great football, basketball, and baseball in the 80s and 90s. But for this one, you have to go with any team that's only 6 miles from Bethel High School off Big Bethel Road. 6 miles? Come on.
Well, I will say this. Everybody talks about Terry Kirby and Chris Slade, very famous alumni of Tab High School, but Coach Hovis at Tab had a bunch of guys that played Division I, and they kind of stand in the shadow of those two. So next is, this is a team, guys, we're talking about them every week. I was just going to say we need to give them some more love. Kettle Run's coach said he would, he'd be willing to come on. Sharando, great program in Stevens City, just a little bit south of Winchester, is going to Kettle Run, and Kettle Run's fan base, they talk a lot. When we put out our weekly picks, they'll retweet it and things like that. So, Jay, you always hone in on Kettle Run, which is at Fauquier County. They're very close to Prince William. Tell us about this game, Jay.
Well, Kettle Run, they said they can't sleep because they're our number 1 seed right now for their region. And you got Brentsville, number 3, with 1 loss. So really, they really can't relax, and they lose a game. They face Brentsville the last game of the year. Saying that, I'm gonna say
it'll be a big one, guys.
Yeah, a huge game. So I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna say Kettle Run big. I'm gonna say 33-7.
All right, Colin Rapella.
Yeah. So backing off of what Jay said, just looking forward to that Kettle Run Brentsville game. As a PW Sports announcer, we do a lot of Brentsville games. And I need kind of leaning towards Brentsville because they're Prince William County. So I need Kettle Run to be undefeated so Brentsville can knock them off. So I'm going Kettle Run.
Good reasoning. Jason Sterling.
Love that logic, Colin. Love it, man. Look, Kettle Run continues to pound teams into submission, guys. They're picking up right where they left off last year. Sharondo's rounding into form, though. They lost 2 of their first 3. I really like what the Warriors of Sharonda are doing here, but unfortunately not enough to slow down Kettle Run. I got a high-scoring game, though, guys. Give me Kettle Run 52, Sharonda 29.
Wow.
Rusty Bird, we went out there. There were a lot of cowboy hats, man.
Yeah. Now, Sharando, this is a big game every year. And they're a quality team. They only have 2 losses, but I do like Kettle Run to win this 35-21.
Okay. I'm going to go with Kettle Run. That Kettle Run Brentsville is going to get the state title game. And by the way, Lafayette may be one of the teams. And that Kettle Run Brentsville is going to be a great game. I just like Kettle Run's momentum. I like Kettle Run in a high-scoring game also. I'm going to take them 46-13. Everybody out of Kettle Run, please subscribe to us. We're going to get we're going to get your coach, hopefully, a couple players on. Next game, we got Stonebridge back on the radar. We haven't talked about them in a while. They righted the ship this past week. Jason and I were there. I was there for half. They defeated Potomac Falls 50-0. Jason, Light Ridge is coming to Ashburn to face Stonebridge, and Light Ridge has been pretty impressive so far. They've had some games. I think they took Tuscarora to triple overtime, undefeated Tuscarora. Give us a preview of this, Jason.
Yeah, so I don't think we've talked Light Ridge, so I'll give you a little background. They're the newest school in Loudoun County.
It's only 3 years old, right?
4. This is their 4th
high
year.
school.
Okay, 4. Okay.
Yep, this is their 4th year. They came in was it the COVID season? Maybe, I'm not sure. It's their 4th year though of football.
Yep.
And they've had some great players already come through there. They've got Anthony Donka, a kid playing up at Penn State. They've had a couple other guys go to some Division II, Division III schools. And, you don't see that a lot coming out of schools early. It usually takes a little bit of time to get scouts out, to these schools, those types of things. So they've got a 4-2 record this year. They're coming off a victory against Independence this past Friday. So this will be the first trip to Stonebridge, though, and I think we all recognize that that's a different animal that they've got to go face. And on the Stonebridge front, Kirk, as you mentioned, now it was Pot Falls, and I think we all expected them to turn into screws to Pot Falls, and they did. They had some mistakes in that game, though. They weren't perfect, but I think they are rounding into form. They're getting healthy, and I think when Miles Turpin touches the ball, and we talked about this very early in some of your episodes, when Miles Turpin touches the ball, they are a very, very difficult team to stop. I mean, he's good for a minimum of 6 to 10 yards per touch, it seems like, every time. And of course, he busted the second play of the game, 75 yards there for a touchdown. So I think Stonebridge pulls this one out. They pull away pretty handily here. I've got them winning this one 44-14 over Light Ridge.
All right. Wow. Okay. Colin.
So last year, I actually had the privilege of calling Freedom and Stonebridge for PW Sports. And from that, I know Stonebridge, just their reputation and their great coaching. So with that, I'm going to go with Stonebridge.
Good call, Colin. Good call.
Good pick. Jay Gholson.
See, Light Ridge stole a lot of kids from John Champ.
Yeah.
Right down the street.
And like I said, but playing at Stonebridge, I've been there now as a player, but as a fan. For Freedom at Stonebridge 2 years ago. It's a different animal. They are loud. Basically, it's a loud place to play at. So on an inexperience, I'm going with Stonebridge. I'm gonna say 51-6 over Light Ridge.
Okay. Rusty, you've been to Stonebridge many times.
Many times, yeah, and I've actually been to Light Ridge, but it was for a track meet for my son. And I like Light Ridge to score some points, but I think Stonebridge will win 42-27. One thing I did want to point out is that in looking up Stonebridge, it looks like Woodgrove officially forfeited that game, and now Stonebridge has 2 wins on the season. Yep. So they're now 2-4.
Yeah,
that's important.
VHSL recognized it as a forfeit, so they get the points for that.
What happened?
Yeah.
It was the night that all the lightning was going through.
All the lightning, yeah.
So a lot of games got either postponed, delayed. They never got the game off. They were trying to make it up that Saturday when I sort of like the DeMatha Freedom game, but Woodgrove couldn't fit it into the schedule, unfortunately, and so they had to take the L on it.
Wow.
Yep. So I'll finish this out. Stonebridge right at the ship. It was very good to see Stonebridge back at home. They did have a big crowd. There were a ton of people there.
Yeah.
And, hats off to Potomac Falls. They've always struggled in football. I like their quarterback. He just didn't have a lot of weapons around him. And I will just make one comment. There was a call where Miles Turpin almost picked off. He jumped the route and he was going to take it. And he didn't get it. And he was demonstrative after the play. He was called for taunting. He did not taunt. And by the way, his being demonstrative was him being a competitive athlete. And he is an unbelievable athlete. That was a bad call. But I would say this. There are too many kids when they make a play that they are taunting. They're demonstrative. They're saying something. Miles didn't do that. He was just upset. And that was a bad call. I'm going to take Stonebridge in this one. 52-0. I don't think they're gonna score. I think Coach Thompson and the crew are out to right this ship. The next one, another really good Fairfax County game. We keep saying Fairfax County. There's so many teams in Fairfax County, guys. There are probably more teams in Fairfax County than there are the whole maybe even Eastern region. But Herndon's going to McLean, and both of those teams are impressive. McLean undefeated, right, Jason? You can give us a preview of this one?
Yeah, look, let's go over Herndon first. They come into this game at 5-2, and just 2 years ago, guys, they were 0-9 in their entire season. They only had a 9-game schedule, but
Coach Bachman.
Yeah, so great turnaround for Herndon. McLean sits here in mid-October with an undefeated record, and they've got wins against Yorktown and Chantilly mixed in there. I think these two teams are somewhat evenly matched. Again, I'm not sure if any team does anything super great, but they also, what I know about these two teams, they limit their weaknesses and they cover those up pretty well. So, I know, Gholson, you really wanted to sell me a house in McLean, but I would have to get a second and third job just to cover the landscaping bill.
You can do that.
So with that said, I'm going to take McLean in this one by the score of 20-14 over Herndon.
All right. Colin Rapella, Lynchburg.
So my first game ever calling play-by-play, it was McLean versus Osborne Park, and they both were coming off of winless seasons. So to see where McLean is now, undefeated, I got to stick with them. I'm taking McLean in this one.
There you go. Jay, McLean, if you're going to sell houses, man, you got to pick McLean, right?
Oh, yeah. Let me say this about McLean. And I mean, the last time they were like this was 1999 when they played Hampton in the state semifinals with Ronald McCurry. Came up here, and it was a close game. So McLean, $5 million homes and the rich kids and blah, 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 but they can play football. And this game, I'm going with McLean. This one, I'm saying low scoring game. I'm going to say McLean 12, Herndon 7.
Okay. Rusty Bird.
Yeah, I like Herndon to win over McLean 17-14, but to see where Herndon has progressed and McLean, I just think it's great. I love to see teams turning it around.
I'm going to take McLean. I think the home field advantage, they're very spirited at McLean. To make you guys feel old, first place I lived in up here after Virginia Tech was McLean, and my rent was $333. I like the Highlanders in a close one, 21-17. And Rusty, we were talking about this one. This is an interesting game. Granby at Churchland, and Granby being the oldest school in Norfolk, I believe. Maury's right there, also downtown, but and Churchland over in Portsmouth. But this is a great game. I want you to preview, Rusty. Give us a preview. But Granby was winless last year, and they are rolling now. Go ahead, Rusty.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Granby, the school that Lefty Drizel attended.
Bobby Rome, too.
Yeah, Bobby Rome.
Our buddy Bobby Rome.
Yeah, Florida Memorial head football coach down in Miami. Because we had this early in I think we had the Granby-Denby matchup. It's a game to pick. And so both teams had 0 wins the year before, but Granby has really turned it around, and that's a big talking point down in the 757. I like Granby to win this one, 24-21.
Okay. Mr. Liberty, Colin Rapella.
Well, yeah, so you mentioned Liberty, and as you may already know, we're a Christian school, so I have to go Churchland.
Oh, bam, 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 bam. I know.
Jay Gholson.
I'm going to go with Granby. I'm going to say 16-10.
Okay.
I'll go.
Yep.
That turnaround, maybe it's the best turnaround in Class 5, but I would argue it's the best turnaround from 2022 to 2023 in the entire state is the Granby Comets. I think this team believes in themselves, so I think maybe we ought to start believing in them a little bit. But I'll tell you that the Churchland Truckers, they sit in at 4-2 right now coming into this game. Their losses are to Kings Fork and Hopewell, who both make pretty deep playoff runs. So not bad losses on their resume. I love what Granby's doing, though. But I think Churchland pulls this one out in a squeaker, very, very close. I got Churchland 21, Granby 20.
I would say that I think that's going to be key, that Churchland is at home. And, I'm going to take the Truckers. I like the Truckers in this one. I'm going to take Churchland 31-20. All right. And the next game, we decided that we wanted to talk about the PD. And this is a winless team going against a 1-win team, and that's Denby at Kickitan. That's Newport News School coming into Hampton. Rusty, let's talk about this game. It's an interesting matchup. We typically, get teams with, the upper records, but we found this one interesting for a number of reasons. Go ahead, Rusty.
Well, I think one of the main reasons it's interesting to me is one, yeah, Denby still has not won, but I do believe they're on the right track. They have Warwick's old head football coach, Tommy Reeman, who was Michael Vick's coach. He also coached at Lansdowne, and he played in the NFL. And fun fact is, Coach Reeman also, while playing professional football, he also starred in a number of movies and television shows.
That's right. He was an actor.
He was an actor. And we've had his son, Tommy Reeman Jr., on the show, who's also helping out with the program. I think they will figure things out. But what's surprising to me is Jeff Super is the head coach of Kickerton, and we've had him on the show a couple of times. They only have one win this year, and that's over Gloucester. And I just don't know what the story is there. But I like Kickerton to win, but in a close match. I just wanted to give these two programs love. But I like Kickerton to win 14-7. And I think they have really good coaching staffs. Both programs will figure things out, and the PB will be back.
All right. Colin, I'll help you out a little bit. This is the Denby Patriots at the Kickerton Warriors, if that helps you with your decision. Who do you like here?
So back in the day when I played AAU basketball, I played against a Kecoughtan team. So I'm going to go with them.
You're going with the tan. All right. Jason Sterling.
So I'm thinking the first team to double digits points here maybe wins this one. So my questions, can Denby get off the snide here? Could Kickerton possibly pick up their second win? Do you guys like Hampton better or Newport News when you go down to that area? I don't know. I like Kickerton in this one. Rusty, I copied off your paper. I've got them winning 14-7 as well. So sorry about cheating off you here, man.
That's okay. That's why I had to go first.
Jay.
Hey, go ahead, Jay. Go ahead, Jay.
Say Kecoughtan 10-7.
All right. All right. Hey,
well, the PD, Hampton and Newport News. So I like Kickerton. Coach Super lost some key components, and he is going to be just fine. Everybody down there has great things to say about Jeff Super. Kickerton, he's doing a great job. Denby has had participation problem, guys. They didn't play some games. They forfeited some games, and we've seen some teams up here that dropped it for the season. Fortunately, Coach Tommy Reeman has come in. He's from the area, and he's great. Him coming in, he will right the ship there. But it's just a matter of how many kids they have in practicing. I'm going to take Kickerton. Actually, I like Kickerton 28-10. And here's my commentary. And Rusty, we've talked about this. The PD is nothing like it used to be, and it's top heavy with Phoebus and Warwick, and everybody else is falling off now. Stop letting your players go to school wherever they want to go because of the academies and this, that, the other. Too many kids. It's like the transfer portal down there in Hampton Roads, and everybody knows it. Settle things down. Denby's going to get back on track, but that's just one thing. I'd like to see the teams come back. There's a lot of great programs, and Kickerton will be, they'll be just fine. They'll right the ship. So we're going to close out with another Richmond game, and that's Hermitage, team that pretty surprising. The win last week is a little surprising at Glen Allen, and Glen Allen played Varina tough. This probably, I'll talk to Danny Lewis of VA Preps and Will Garland down there. This is probably the premier game in Richmond. Give us a quick preview there, Jason.
Yeah, so Hermitage dropped their opening game of the year to Oscar Smith, but they haven't lost since. And I will tell you, we are underselling Hermitage here. They are loaded this year. Now, they're not Maury loaded or Freedom loaded, but they're loaded, right? Now, Glen Allen, on the flip side, their only losses are to Dale and Varina. And if you didn't take those two off, which are, again, very respectable losses, they'd be undefeated. This is a great game. I think you've got two really good teams who are going to make some juice and some noise in the playoffs here. Hermitage in Class 5. I could actually see them getting to a regional final, possibly winning a regional final. I know you're kicking around like a Patrick Henry Kirk and LC Bird. Look out for Hermitage in that mix. I mean it, man. They very well could be a team to to potentially reach that final or even a state semi. And Glen Allen in Class 6 will make some noise. I think Hermitage wins this one. I just think we've not paid enough attention to some of their skill players. They've got great athletes on their team. They're going to pump out a lot of guys over the next couple of years into some big colleges. Give me Hermitage 35, Glen Allen 23.
Okay. Colin.
I got Hermitage in a close one, 35-28.
All right. Gholson.
Class 5 versus Class 6. So I'm going to go with Hermitage. I would say Hermitage 16 to 7 over Glen Allen.
All right. Rusty Bird.
Yeah, I picked against Hermitage last time, but I'd like Hermitage to win this one. That's where I had a lot of family members in that 804 area go to and play all types of sports. So I like Hermitage to win this one 21-20.
Okay. Good stuff. I will close this out before we go to the ReMax Jay Gholson top performer player of the week. Drum roll. It's coming. I just want to say this, Rusty. We had a guy, I don't have his name, that made a comment on the podcast for YouTube that we in the Richmond area that we weren't giving Highland Springs a lot of love. But I just wanted to say that, we've got folks down there. So everybody at Hermitage and Glen Allen, please subscribe to us. I'm going to be the lone ranger here. I like Glen Allen. Glen Allen, that's a team that's not getting a lot of respect. A very good football team. When you can play Verina that close, Freedom knows something about Verina. So I am going to take Glen Allen. I like Glen Allen this one, 17-7. All right. And also, I wanted to say that if you want us to preview your game, please let us know. And if you have a nominee for Player of the Week, just get in touch with any of us. We'll put it to Jay, the ReMax Jay Gholson Player of the Week, and we'll be happy to highlight your game or your player for Player of the Week. So, all right, guys. So we're going. That's week 8, and we'll have another slate next week. Jay, is it going to be a Freedom Eagle?
No. And this one is extremely obvious. Don't get it wrong, Jay.
It is the Patriot offensive line.
Okay.
And the name
what about the kids from Patriot or the running back?
They're the reason why. Brian Rudd, Alaric Allens, Jordan Benjamin, Han Schmidt, Sayaf Hamid are my players of the week for the Patriot offensive line. For giving Jackson, I think, 340 yards rushing?
Yeah, 348. But hold on.
Only 340?
Whitaker, who's also an excellent linebacker, who had, I believe, a 65-yard touchdown call back. But he also, I think he also had a 50-yard explosion run. So that offensive line was the key for all of their running game. And they also had, I forget the young man's name, when the third string running back came in, he came in and carried the ball like 5 times for about 50 yards and scored a touchdown. So you're right on with that, Jay.
We doing it's going to the favorite charity, preferred charity.
Yeah.
I was going to say, with the offensive line, $50 divided by 5, $10. They might be able to get some trail mix at 7-Eleven.
No, they're charity. Yeah.
Slurpee.
Yeah.
No, that's. I'm glad you did that. Those kids don't get enough credit, and they lost Cole Serber to UVA and Brandon Koo to Christopher Newport, and
also Chandler's,
right.
Charlie's son. Yep.
Right. So
I believe he's at Elon.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was impressive. So that's wrapping things up. We'll be back looking at these picks, and week 9. Please subscribe to us. Follow us on Twitter at the Kirk and Bird, as well as Facebook for the older demographic. You can check us out, the 703-540 Nova High School Sports Group. I'm going to go around the horn, just do a last check-in, Colin, thank you for joining us from Lynchburg. Anything you want to cover?
Not really. Just thank you guys so much for having me, and I'm looking forward to, like, as we move throughout the season, getting to playoff time and seeing how this pans out, seeing who Freedom will beat in the state championship.
There you go. All right. Jason Sterling, on our way out.
Yeah, 6-4 last week, man. I struggled, so I'm surprised you guys had me back on after that. So I do thank you for giving me another week to. Yeah,
6-4 is a great week. What are you talking about, Jason? Welcome to my world.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for having me, guys.
iPhone 3, Jay Gholson.
Heavyweight fight this Friday between Gainesville and Gainesville and Battlefield.
Battlefield, yeah.
It's gonna be a great, that's gonna be a great battle, the heavyweight fight.
They're really close too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not much of a bus ride there.
No.
Yeah, but look, I want to thank you all. Colin, you're the man. We look forward to having you back on in a number of capacities. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Jay. And for my co-host, Kirk here, this has been the Kirkenberg Show. We are out.